A multiracial half-werewolf, half-human daughter named Claudine Wolf was created by the union of a human father named Apollo and a werewolf mother named Selena, who passed away for unknown reasons. Claudine spent her entire existence in the world of humans, hidden from people since she is part monster. On her 15th birthday, Claudine receives a letter inviting her to enroll in Monster High, the high school for monsters that her mother formerly attended. Apollo grants her permission to enroll in the institution, but reluctantly. As humans are seen as the largest threat to monsters and only those with genuine monster hearts are permitted in the school, he cautions her that she must conceal her human side. Claudine finally feels like she belongs when she enrolls in Monster High, which is portrayed as a boarding school. She makes friends with Frankie Stein, a non-binary Frankenmonster who is just 15 days old and has a fantastic intellect created from several brain parts, and she develops feelings for Deuce Gorgon, the offspring of Medusa and Lyra. She also meets Draculaura, the daughter of Dracula, who is under pressure from her father to do well in school, Cleo Denial, the ex-girlfriend of Deuce and the school's queen bee, Laguna Blue, the Colombian daughter of a sea monster and a sea nymph who is Cleo's best friend, and the zombie Ghoulia Yelps who assists her in finding her dorm. Claudine accepts Headmistress Bloodgood's invitation to speak on behalf of the students at a meal with the Monster High Council on Founders Day. Claudine learns during her time at Monster High that when she experiences powerful emotions like fear or anxiety, she briefly turns into a full human. In her first class, her new lecturer, Mr. Comos, informs the pupils about the origins of Monster High and the reasons why monsters despise humans. In order to make Claudine even more afraid of being discovered, he tells them the tale of Eddie Hyde, a previous pupil who was a half-human, a half-monster who was ejected from the school after his human side was revealed and was slaughtered by human hunters. She discovers from Mr. Comos that Hyde developed a technique that might turn a hybrid of a human and a monster into a full-blooded monster, but he was banished before he could test it. In order to keep her secret a secret, Claudine decides to discover the formula and consume it. She also does research on Hyde. Claudine begins to change into a human even more, especially when she is with Deuce, which Frankie eventually notices. Frankie is slightly alarmed but doesn't avoid Claudine. Instead, they assist her in her search for Hyde's hidden laboratory, which is rumored to be in the school's cemetery. When they get there, they find Draculaura engaging in witchcraft, which is against the law considering that witches and vampires have been at war for generations. Draculaura assists Frankie and Claudine in their quest while they make a commitment to keep her skills a secret after being impressed by the vampire's magic. They find a location that appears to be the lab, but it has a lock that can only be opened by a specific hand. Draculaura finds a spell that might open the door, but one of the elements is Ogre's Bone, which also happens to be the material used to make the headmistress's cup. When Claudine goes to her office to collect the cup shavings, Cleo almost catches her. Cleo believes Claudine to be the genuine headmistress after Draculaura successfully makes Claudine resemble Bloodgood in both appearance and voice. The following component is snake venom, which Claudine gets from a snake Deuce keeps in his hair. Deuce explains to Claudine during their stroll that Gorgons aren't necessarily terrifying monsters, which causes the two to smitten and become close. Later that evening, Claudine, Frankie, and Draculaura attempt to use the magic to open the door but are unsuccessful. Headmistress Bloodgood, Mr. Comos, and Cleo, who tipped Headmistress Bloodgood off about Draculaura's covert magic practice, catch them in the act when they return to school. The school suddenly begins to tremble, and Claudine prevents Cleo from being struck by a falling gargoyle. Headmistress Bloodgood is aware that the school is pleading for assistance because there is a untrue monster heart, likely a human, among them, and if they don't figure out who it is, the entire institution could disintegrate. Claudine leaves the school in the middle of the night in sorrow and returns to the human realm since she feels she is endangering her friends and everyone else. The following day, Draculaura and Frankie claim to have located her and will support her no matter what. They later learn that Claudine can unlock the door to the room in the graveyard with her human hand because Hyde was also half-human, and they manage to do so on the eve of the Founders' Day supper. The location initially seems to be nothing more than an ogre's grave. However, they stumble onto a covert entrance and eventually locate Hyde's hidden laboratory in the formula. While about to consume the potion, Claudine is hesitant to give up on her father, who she considers to be her other half. Mr. Komos unexpectedly makes an appearance at the lab, showing that he is also half human. He informs Claudine that giving up on oneself is not the solution and that there is an alternative. She hands him the equation. Mr. Komos, however, drinks the mixture instead, exposing himself to be Eddie Hyde Jr., Hyde's son, who wishes to destroy Monster High and the humans in order to get revenge on his father's murder. Komos is transformed by the formula into a full-blooded monster with the ability to absorb the essence and powers of other monsters, adopting Draculaura's vampire skills first. Claudine, Frankie, and Draculaura go live to contact Cleo for assistance after securing Mr. Komos in the lab. Cleo then shows up with Laguna, Deuce, Gulia, Heath Burns, and Abby Abominable. Using the remaining portions of Draculaura's unlocking spell, Claudine, Frankie, and Draculaura are able to flee. When the teenagers are outdoors, Mr. Komos makes it out safely and uses his stolen Gorgon powers to turn Deuce into stone. To the dismay of the other youngsters, Claudine undergoes a full human transformation after experiencing heartbreak. To Cleo's astonishment, they don't avoid her, and she uses her phone to force Mr. Komos to gaze at himself in the selfie camera, turning him into stone and giving Draculaura and Deuce their powers back, reviving Deuce in the process. Dracula, Headmistress Bloodgood, and the Monster High Council show up just in time to learn not just Mr. Komos's true motivations but also Claudine's secret. Apollo shows up at Monster High the following day to pick up Claudine, who has changed back into a werewolf, so they can go back to the human world. They are both shocked when Headmistress Bloodgood says that she will not expel Claudine because she has demonstrated that she has a genuine monster heart, and Dracula says that they are revising the school's mission statement because not all people are bad. Claudine is the monster's first admittedly human-blooded pupil. The three friends join the rest of the school, Dracula, and Apollo in celebrating Claudine's stay at Monster High. Dracula permits Draculaura to practice witchcraft, Deuce runs for student council, and the three of them. A mysterious witch who is planning to exterminate the vampires is observing events from somewhere else while giving orders to her servants to bring Draculaura to her.